Let's see here. Yes. Before we get into the meat of today's episode, I'd like to kind of talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's been going on with me. So, recently, I got back from Comic-Con in New York, took the Amtrak down, stayed at a friend's place, looked at some interesting books, and not, mind you, had some wonderful food, and I've been hooked on 3 things while I'm down there in New York. 1, the bagels. 2, the breakfast sandwiches. 3, the pizza. Probably some of the best I've ever had in my life, and that's not even counting when I went abroad to Switzerland and we crossed over into Lake Como and I had the normal Italian pizza they have out there, but I guess I'm just too American. Oh well, sorry to my international viewer base of probably 2 people who are listening to this. But no, it was a good time. I checked out a couple of booths. There was some really cool art. I picked up some Hollow Knight prints that I thought were really neat. And I got me a Kafka plushie who is currently sitting behind me staring at me. Ain't that right? Please help. I'm being held at gunpoint here, and it's not even that fun. But it was pretty good. So, let's see. Got some games I've been playing as well. I've actually, I've been, if you've been listening to me for a little while now, back before when I was doing the radio broadcast for Berkshire Talking Chronicle, I mentioned that I was a big Skyrim fanboy in the Elder Scrolls. That's played it on the 360, played it on the PC, played it on the Xbox One, loved it, did everything there was to do. Another hand touches the beacon, yada yada yada. My life, Lydia, please carry all my garbage so I can do this. But a friend of mine was like, you should try Oblivion, and not the remaster, mind you. I'm talking like the OG Oblivion. So I'm like, why not? I'll give it a spin. Put it up. I got about 20 hours in, and I'm loving every second of it. I, of course, had to pick the obvious choice of being a fighter, because everything that walks in front of me I'll hit with a big stick. Now, Elder Scrolls combat has never really been known to be the strongest, especially in Skyrim. By God, getting slapped around by 2 trolls, Fire, Antonok, or whatever their names are, frickin' bandits, it's not fun. But the dialogue is definitely better, the story has been absolutely phenomenal so far. And I've really been enjoying the Fighters Guild questline. I'm planning on doing Mages Guild and Fighters Guild first, and then I'm going to do the Thieves Guild followed by the Dark Brotherhood, which people tell me are 2 of the best storylines in the entire Elder Scrolls series, period. Which I'm kind of curious about, not going to lie, but I have like 6 in Stealth, and I think my Speechcraft is like 7, and I'm playing an Orc, so people already don't like me. I think like my average like meter is about 30, but I just don't know how to talk to people in that game with the little mini game, so I just bribe them usually half of the time. But it's pretty fun. Decided to replay Borderlands 3. Got on the PC for like $10 with all the DLC, so played through. Reminded me how much I buried in my skull, because let me be real here, the story absolutely blows in my opinion. So I think that's just a common trope nowadays with people. Playing Moz, I was going to say Mozza, because that Star Rail character got me funky with the name, but not really the most interesting as far as dialogue is concerned, or even story is relegated, but I'm a Titanfall fanboy, so I like Big Mech, and she's actually a lot of fun with some of her kits. Playing the Handsome Jackpot DLC, after I beat the main story, it's pretty good. I like seeing Timothy Lawrence again, and I do think it's a step in the better direction in comparison to the previous thing, but I could probably talk at length about Borderlands 3 and all of its misforgivings, but there are probably more qualified people to talk about it. I'm on that Space Marine 2 grind still. Recently, I've been investing a good amount of time into Vanguard because I'm trying to get him up in prestige. There's about 2 more level ups, and then I gotta do the normal process once you hit max prestige of leveling him up again, and then I gotta go play through the Vortex mission. But I love playing that game. I'm a massive 40k fan, as we've established, but I do enjoy having people buy the game and then playing through the story with them. I have my own reservations about it, once again, but that core gameplay loop got me acting up with the Power Axe, and I'm excited to see where they go through it. Monster Hunter World, last I checked, not too much progress, although now I only have, Let me think. Yeah, no, I only have 3 monsters left to kill, and then I would have done pretty much hunted of everything at that point. I have to fight AT Velcana, which is going about as expected. And then I got to fight Fatty, or Fatalis, and just, like, the non-siege variant of Kolv Taroth, who, for whatever reason, has been giving me so much crap. Kind of like Devil Joe. I don't know why, but Devil Joe has always just been one of those monsters in Monster Hunter World that I just cannot for the life of me get past. That certainly past it now, but back when I played it on the Xbox, and then I moved over to PC, like, nah, I don't know, man. I feel like there's always that one monster, but it be what it be. So, now that we're caught up on what I've been doing, I wanted to kind of take a minute to reflect on my personal progress so far in regards to how long, like what, almost 2 years now I've been on the hunt for a job in the industry? Not to mention since I started at Project Cyclone and everything. Sheesh. But in that time, between when I joined and when we actually started the internship program, based off of the collective data that I am seeing here, we have helped over 200 applicants. Or rather, we have received 200 applicants, and we try to help as many as we can. To all those who are listening and you have currently applied to the program, your support and interest is greatly appreciated. It's just unfortunately we get so many of you at once, and we know it's rough, but we try to help as many as we can. It's just we are a very small operation, and we got a lot of you. I mean, I'm looking at like 10 of yous right now in my own division, not to mention sheesh, how many writers have we had applying? Yeah, but I digress. It's nice seeing that we can provide assistance to individuals, and I always joke about it, but like, there's just something so funny about trying to find a job and then trying to provide opportunity at the same time. But, it looks good on the resume, and people are people, so I'd say that's pretty good. I feel like I've gotten some solid progress, made some really neat connections along the way. We will get to that. But we gotta get to the actual talking games section, which actually it brings me to a point that I kind of want to talk about just a wee bit, but something that's man, when you think about it, a lot of companies are just owned by either Microsoft or Sony nowadays. ZeniMax got bought out by Microsoft, which means that ID Software, Bethesda, and all the companies that are under them belong to them. Sony's been buying out a couple of single indie companies. And now that the Blizzard merger has gone through with Microsoft, there's just Call of Duty, the biggest selling IP, or like one of the continually grossing ones that get yearly releases, has fallen under their thumb. And I mean, that's good and bad, but I don't know, it's just weird to me thinking that the level of actual, like, independent studios, at least the only one that I can think of off the top of my head, is, Yeah, that is a good question. I can't really think of one off the top of my head. Oh well. But, it might be easier to move up into the company as a result. Let's talk about some networking bonanza stuff, the funny stuff that comes with that. So, as anybody would probably know, the biggest thing to do in this industry, outside of, getting a solid resume and dressing properly, well, no, not dressing properly, but I don't know, just looking like you're not going to eat somebody's face off, is the network. And I think that networking is very important, especially if you obviously are not really of the most inclined when it comes to talking to people. Like, let me tell you something, all right? I do not like having to go out of my way to talk to people. It's not necessarily that I dislike the human interaction. It's just more like I'm more comfortable when I'm in a room with the lights turned off, with my favorite snack, which I think in this current moment is a coffee cake with some nice black coffee. And I'm either reading a book, doing some writing, or I am taking my executive nap, which I find I'm taking more of those recently just due to the amount of workload I'm receiving. And for whatever reason, God has decided to say to me, Connor, you are going to be a producer. I said, hey, it's not very cool of you. I wanted to be a programmer when I went to freshman year back at Becker for, just programming reasons. And then I absolutely flunked out in the second semester and swapped over to producer, and here I am. I've gotten so many people on so many times. You always tell me, like, have you ever considered doing this? And I'm like, yes. And I could tell you right now, I'm awful at it. I took a week to try to learn Maya, do a little bit of art, animation, that type of thing. I made a stick figure go about 2 feet, and I said, this is too hard for me. Tried using Reaper to make some audio stuff. I spent maybe about 2 weekends on it, and I got a piano to make the C-bat noise, and I was done. Didn't really want to go beyond that. Had someone, recommend, hey, why don't you try programming again? Brother, I already suck with languages, so you really think I'm going to be able to come back out and talk at the same time in a program? Yeah, no. Binary is already difficult enough for me to speak, and I'm not even a robot. Let's see, what else? Art, oh yeah, we talked about art, we did that. Yeah, I got the weird skill set. They gave me production stuff, and then they gave me the writer skill set, and I'm sitting here like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this garbage? What am I supposed to write? My immortal fanfics till the day I die? Yeah. No, I don't actually, whatever, moving on. Alright, where were we? Right, networking. Very important to do that. Honestly, I find in 95% of the cases when I network with somebody on LinkedIn, I just meet them in person. It just starts out as, hey, how you doing? Can you tell me about games? But it's weird because they know you want a job, but you can't say that you want a job. So you got to play a ball game with them a little bit. But I was actually recommended this pretty useful tip of advice from a network connection that I hooked up with recently. We had a wonderful 1-hour conversation. It was very nice. And they effectively told me, like, hey, the best way to kind of get something is, look at what you're currently doing or what you're about to be doing in whatever field and try to find somebody at a company who's already doing what you're doing. And just kind of ask them, like, hey, I'm about to do X, Y, and Z. I see you're very proficient with this. Could you explain to me how you did it and maybe give me some advice? And then as you work with them, one, that gives them the ability to kind of gauge how you work. And two, you can still build that rapport with them as you talk and discuss and vibe, even if we're using my slang from my generation. Having to be professional in this day and age, please. I'd rather play Tekken 8 now that Armor King got announced and freaking Green Mist Tombstone Pile Driver. But I can't, because you can't swing at a problem when you want a job. Please hire me. Alright. I'm having way too much fun with this. Yeah, no, just see if maybe, they might be doing something you're doing and just kind of talk to them a little bit on that. If you hate talking to people, I do too, but I find that when I harass people to get them to hook me up with somebody, and they hate talking to people, they'll be even more incentivized to do it because they don't want to talk to you and they don't want to talk to the other person, and it'll be really quick. But yeah, that's networking. From what I understand, is just two people trying to talk to each other and trying to find some middle ground on that. But it's a good opportunity to just kind of talk like I am. I don't even know who listens to these recordings, quite frankly, but my boss does, so he's probably going to yell at me after this. Oh well. But let's talk, actually, yeah. So PAX East is coming up in March soon, and very excited for it. I went there last year, and I went to my friend's apartment, and I stayed there for a couple days while I was in Worcester. And we took the train down into Boston every single day for the 4 days that we went there in May. Never again. Never again. Because for starters, you got to get there butt early. And the train, or at least the one from Union to South Station in Worcester, takes long time to get down there. This is the issue when you go to another country that has very, very fast trains, and then you come back to America, and you're like, man. Nah, it's fine. I am just complaining because I had to take the train, but I'm getting a hotel this year, and I'm hoping that it works out. But I'm excited for PAX East. You know, it's a solid opportunity for networking. It's the one event in the year that I can save up enough money to actually go and not feel like I'm not going to be able to eat for rent next month. And on top of that, well, you know, you meet some really cool people. But, you know, stuff is stuff. Now, I don't really think that was the most invigorating 16 minutes of your life right there, but we have some pretty interesting questions that I think y'all will find to be fairly interesting. So how about we start with, alright, let's see here. Question number 1, and obviously I gotta have at least one of these every single episode or else it's not even gonna be great. A gacha-related question, because I'm a gacha gremlin. What makes gacha attractive, says this one viewer who has decided to send in this. Well, that could be quite open-ended to a variety of reasons, but for me personally, I like seeing the funny animation and then getting a character and knowing that I didn't have to spend money for them. That's really about it. Let's see, question number 2. Are game producers really cat herders described as people? The FBI will be at your house shortly to allow you to rethink such a phrasing as they introduce you to the shock baton. Now, I think that you do a bit of cat herding, and yes, we are disguised. Don't worry about it. Number 3. Is there one task managing software that's better than the rest? It's a situation of you got to figure out what works for your team. So currently on my projects at Cyclone, we use Milo. Because 1, we don't need a subscription for it, and 2, you know, we're not some big AAA company that requires you to use Jira and have story points and all of that. Now, with that being said, I do think it's really dependent on what you do as a team, but it's, in most cases, if you're doing a game jam and you guys got like a week, you don't really need a producer to tell you to use this software, or you don't need to do that. You're an adult. I hope you can remember tasks and that you can do it accordingly. Now, something that might work better is if you use software or something smaller that's a little bit more proficient. If not, then, I don't know, do a flip of something. You're smart. You'll figure it out. Let's see here. Let's see. Number 4, what made you decide to do a podcast? Well, honestly, I think it's 2 things. 1, the first part was I brought up to my boss. I'm like, yo, my tenure at Berkshire Talking Chronicle is ending, and I would like to extend that, and I think this is a great way to kind of just network myself and talk to some interesting people and talk about an industry that I love. And he's like, Connor, you beautiful bastard. You're going to save our company. You're going to be the face of it. You're going to do everything. I'm going to pay you $1 gazillion. Totally what he said. Sam, please don't fire me. I beg of you. Oh my god. People actually listen to this. I don't know why. But no, I just figured it would be a great, nice little fun thing that kind of shows people what we're all about at the company, and also they get to hear me, and hopefully they see that and they're interested in hiring me, and then I can go on and finally get my games industry career properly started. The second reason is I legitimately feel like I'd go insane if I didn't do something else that would continue to keep my skill set sharp. Now, you might think, like, well, what does that mean? Well, I don't know, really. I just figured it'd be a good opportunity to kind of keep myself sharp and talk about things that I love. I mean, it's already kind of weird doing work as a producer when you're just starting out because, again, I stress this so much, but, like, you gotta find projects that, you know, people are going to be working on for extended periods of time. And I don't know if this is the case for every producer who's just starting out, but for me, when I was back in college, I could not, for the life of me, find any game jams that were willing to take me. And I think that's mostly because, you know, again, you don't need notes or advanced, like, softwares for the first 24 hours of a game jam if it's a 24-hour game jam. A weak one, an argument could be made, but I think it'd be rather difficult to uphold. Because again, like, what do you expect here? it's a project that takes you maybe at most 2-3 hours worth of effort to talk about it over the course of the week. I mean, damn. I'm better at orchestrating entire projects from the ground up over a multi-month long period with the pipeline production. I don't really think I'd fit in too well on a 24-hour one if they don't even need me. But really, that's it at the end of the day. I just want to keep my skills sharp, and I think it'd be good to kind of have these weird documentaries about what I do. And on top of that, I just think it's another opportunity for the company to kind of expand a little bit with our podcast department. So with that being said, you still got to play me in a round of Kamigami. Gotta be frank here, I'm getting a little impatient. No. Okay, this is actually a fun one. Favorite music to listen to while playing games? Well, since you asked, let's see what is actually on my current playlist right now that I just randomly clicked on. Alright, so we got a couple of things here, but recently I've been listening to some Goddess of Victory Nike songs, particularly The Harvester has been coming up quite a bit. I'm a big fan of Amanda Lee, so I've had her Jingo Jungle from the Saga of Tanya the Evil playing nonstop. I do enjoy me some Tekken 8, so Urban Square stage theme has been blasting on my mic 24/7, and then I also had Seaside Resort playing on top of that. Big fan of Dance with the Dead, so I've had a couple of their songs playing, Red Moon in particular. But of course, I gotta have this down real quick. Daz GXD, Call Me. That's that right there. That is what we call peak. But last but not least, Binary Haze Interactive with Booble? Buell? I think that's how you said that. I'm not particularly insane, but I really like Melee. They're one of my top 5 bands of all time, and they did music for Enderley's Quietus of the Night. That's the only game on Steam I gave 10 out of 10. And I gotta say, big freaking fan of that song. It's so damn good. But I think, like, we'll also just have a doe in there as well. The new Genesis Uda from One Piece film song in particular has been absolutely stuck in my thing. Yeah, We Rise, Last Dance, Silent Street Battle from Stellar Blade, Maniac, Carpenter Bird, Ready to Die from Andrew WK, Kickback from Chainsaw Man, Mitzi's Alchemy, Redash the Red Hood. Yeah, no, again, Cosmograph just gonna have that there. Honestly, just a couple of songs. I mean, I listen to a lot of random crap. I could probably pull up more, but that's just immediately what I see. But you know, it's nice. I like to listen to a lot of everything. So, oh, this is a fun question. What is my most prized possession? So I don't have. Y'all can't see it, but in front of me, I have a copy of BlazBlue Cross Tag for the Nintendo Switch that I bought at PAX East 2 years ago. Now, you might be asking yourself, like, why is that your most prized possession? Well, it's because I do a thing where, let's say I meet someone who's really cool, or I have a individual that I really want. I just give them a Sharpie. I'm like, can you sign this just so I can, like, have that? It means absolutely nothing to anybody else, but, you know, I do have a signature of Bricky on it. And Bricky was at PAX that year, I should say. And when I bought the copy of BlazBlue Cross Tag, I gave it to my friend because I was manning the Clark booth at the time when I was still in college. And I'm like, hey, can you get him to sign this? Guy signed it, and he complained about all of his friends grinding on it. So as far as I'm concerned, I am the only person in the world with a signed copy of BlazBlue Cross Tag with Bricky's signature on it, with all the other random signatures on it. So I got that on my bucket list. Take that, world. Man, what a weird thing to say on a podcast. Okay, number 7. If given the choice to work at Valve or start your own company, what would you choose? Probably start my own company. That's about it, really. I'd like to make my own game. You know, Valve is great, but I want to throw my own towel in the ring and have my own thing out there. Oh my god. Are you guys trying to actively get me fired with these damn questions? Alright, number 8. Does your boss feed you enough? What am I supposed to say here? What am I supposed to say? Like, am I supposed to say, he doesn't feed me? Oh, God. Jesus, help me. My boss doesn't feed me. I'm gonna die. No. I get taken care of pretty well by him. Like I said, everything I do at this company is volunteer. I do it out of my own free will. I do it because I enjoy helping others, and I do it because at the end of the day, the games industry is probably in the worst straits it's been since the damn start of the 1980s video game crash, and frankly, if we can do our part to at least make that a tiny bit better for everybody surrounding it, then I'd say that's the best we can do. So, Sam, if you're going to be listening to this, I know you are. I made multiple jokes at your expense. You're an awesome boss. Keep up what you're doing. And please, for the love of God, take a damn vacation. You're the damn CEO of the company, and you can't even afford to do that. Ay, matataroma. I'm the producer, now I gotta sit out here and make sure he does that? Sheesh. But yes, he does feed me enough. Number 9. What is a good place to start as an artist if you want to do games? It's a bit of a broad question, and honestly, I don't know if I'm the best to really answer that. But I'll throw my 2 cents in because I did pick this question, even though I'm not qualified to answer it. Really, I think the best place to kind of figure out is, what do you want to do exactly? So art is so broad in games. You got your concept artists, you got your animation artists, you got your animators, you got your prop designers, the people who do the grass, villain designs. Like, really, they do everything. You want to do monsters, you want to do villains, do you want to do buildings, do you want to do this, do you want to do that? Do you want to work in indie? Do you want to do AAA, AA, single A? Although those are more interchangeable nowadays, so that's not really as important. But you see, you gotta figure out where you want to start on that spectrum, and it wouldn't really hurt to also look at some of the industry-related software that they use. I'm not super great with what they use nowadays, but I'm sure if you look, you might find it. Minus one, actually, if I recall correctly. And there's a couple drawing softwares. Actually, let me see here. Learn some drawing software. I'm great at giving advice, if you could clearly tell. Alright, number 10. In your humble opinion, what makes a good villain? Oh, jeez. Connor, you write them, you play them, alright. I'm gonna look at this from a D&D perspective because I do like playing villains in every D&D campaign that I'm a player in, or I like to roleplay with the big grandiose monologues and whatnot, but let's look at like a well-written villain. Okay, how about Strahd? We got any Curse of Strahd fans here? I know I am. Actually, I got the special edition sitting right next to me to the right. Comes in the coffin and everything, with the props and whatnot. What is so great about Strahd? Well, for starters, the guy owns a realm of dread. He has, he's got his digs. He's an unlawful evil overlord. He lets the undead roam around, and he kind of just does things at the end of the day. But, why does he do these things? Why has he done this? Well, he was obsessed with love. He was jealous of his brother. He killed his brother. He kind of now is a vampire because he made a pact with the powers that be. And he's just kind of doing his thing. But, he's charismatic. He's got cool dialogue. He interacts with you in ways that you wouldn't even believe. He's got scrying powers. He's always makes you doubt your abilities, and then he finds ways to make it even worse for you. So, frankly, I would say, a villain is somebody that is in direct contest with player characters, but they have something that allows you to kind of get behind them. Humans love the ability to get behind perspective in their villains. They like a villain that they can understand, a villain that they can get behind, a villain that allows them to do it. Handsome Jack from Borderlands. Handsome Jack from Borderlands. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I'm not super great when you put me on the spot, but when you give me time to prepare like this, maybe I am. But I like playing and understanding somebody who, sometimes they just do it just because, or sometimes they have really lawful games, or they don't think they're doing any wrong, A lawful evil villain, he might be enforcing the law on the downtrodden, but a law is the law. If you break the law, you're gonna have to pay. And I think that following orders is such a funny trope to have, because I played, one of my favorite characters I played actually in D&D as an evil character was just a dude. He was a fighter. He was a lawful evil Yuan-Ti pureblood. But he didn't really have many morals aside from, he had a very strict code that he followed, because, lawful means you have a very strict code. And pretty much what it was is, he never betrayed his word. He was incredibly loyal to his companions, even if the direction of their goals did directly clash with his sometimes. But he didn't outwardly try to cause innate suffering. He was just there to get the job done, try to keep collateral to a minimum, because, even if it wasn't for a benevolent reason, you can't be feeding corpses. People gotta work so you can get stuff done. I could probably go at length about it more so, but we are at the half-hour mark, which means I am going to be calling it here. But, hey, thank you all for listening in to your favorite Gotcha Addict. My name is Connor, and this is Connor Talks Games.